10h32.
Okay, 10:32, second day of ALL4PACK Paris. Have a great business, dear exhibitors and guests. Don't forget to download the application ALL4PACK, the events, and the interactive map. Flash the QR code on the ALL4PACK site on the tab, or download the app. Now, let's talk about our guests. GOUDOUNECHE, your Associate Director of the Institut MRC&C GOUDLINK. Good morning. Karima BOUKOUNA, raising her hand, a member of the SLOG, Head of Operations Supply Chain at Philips Health Systems, France. In front of you, ARIZZI, Chairman of International Trade Organizations for Packaging Process. SECIMEP brings together 135 companies distributing process equipment, packaging control, and labeling equipment. In front of you, Jean-Marc, head of GEPPIA, bring together the main builders of peripheral machines for process and packaging. Welcome, guys. And now we have FRESNEL, head of the Sleever Company, head of the group of the SYMOP, the trade union for production techniques and professional trade organization, bring together 270 companies for international groups. And as a moderator, Annette FREIDINGER-LEGAY. How are you doing this morning, Annette? I'm doing fine, doing fine. We're on track with discovering old innovations, and we're happy to see so many, of course. What a great year, what a great year, 2016. You're experts in packaging, and Annette, you're supporting the exhibition. Annette, you every year give guidelines to the ALL4PACK Observatory, which is a reference for the industry. Yes, that's the only tool for looking forward to measure the ups and downs of the industry, but to point to the events. You're the master of ceremonies. I'm not alone in analyzing. Catherine is the administrator of the observatory of the survey, which is sent to buyers, brands, prescribers who will pick the packaging to market their product. This survey is also for packaging manufacturers and packaging machine manufacturers. Catherine, you got two negatives we're looking at very traditionally. Outlook for production for the three sectors. What was the trend for 2016, Catherine? What about their outlook midterm 2017, 2018? Midterm from the buyers, we have a confirmation of the optimism they had displayed during the previous observatory, namely 63% feel that the outlook for production will be up. Midterm for packaging manufacturers, 62% are optimistic. For equipment makers, only 48% are optimistic and feel that an increase in the next 2 years, well, 29% talk about stability, and 18%, it's confirmed, have a problem of visibility. They cannot really pronounce as to an increase or decrease for machine manufacturers. Now, it is the third consecutive year that the observatory shows an optimism in terms of production prospects. We're coming out of an economic crisis, which you could control through innovation and development. There's something we're monitoring very closely in this barometer, namely the margin indicator. 2 years ago, we had huge hikes in plastics and cardboard, weighing down on the margin of manufacturers of machine and packaging. Now, will a margin be restored? It is confirmed slightly for packaging manufacturers. They feel that their margin will increase to 26%. 59% feel that it will remain stable. And for machine manufacturers, 23% feel that there will be a hike, and 63% that it will not really budge. Yes, In this observatory, sometimes we're looking at downward margins, but here, once again, the trends are being confirmed. It is optimism for all the sectors looked at. What you find in the exhibition: agribusiness, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals. What is the industry which seems to be more buoyant, driving production of packaging materials? Well, optimism of buyers is carried by e-commerce and retailing. 79% feel that they will increase in the next 2 years. Also, you have the service, 71%, cosmetics, perfume, H&B, 69%. In the most pessimistics, we have the household equipment and industry luxury products, which is optimistic for a large part, but 14% of them feel that they have no visibility for the first time. It's a sector which lost some rank. It was part of the buoyant sectors. Luxury goods are now facing changes that are historic, affecting international sales. Now, it is true on home equipment, Karima, Philips company. I am struck by the results of the poll for the last 2 years. What about the role of e-commerce development and its corollary? It's today the new scene for packaging. Distributors now omnichannel, but e-commerce is taking a large share of it. Thank you, Karima, to have joined this observatory to provide some light on the association. E-commerce means reverse logistics, all this. From your own standpoint, Karima, what are the expectations in terms of packaging concerning e-commerce in particular, and possibly explain to us the problems or issues raised by the reverse logistics in e-commerce? Thank you for this introduction. I'm delighted to speak as the SLOG Association for Supply Chain, the SLOG Association in our group. We also have Frédéric Beltois, the Supply Chain Director of Vente Privée. I'll provide his testimonial because packaging is very important, because in e-commerce it's the only contact with the final consumer and the brand, which means that attention must be put on the quality of the packaging. It's very important. All will be played there. The size of the packaging will be important. The care taken, the differentiation elements, it depends on what will be bought by the consumer. So in terms of importance of the packaging for e-commerce, I can only strengthen the message of my colleague about the very important elements, which is the size of the packaging. Thank you, Karima. Jean-Marc, allow me to add a comment. As we've seen, we had the packaging Oscars and awards. Some cardboard packaging were rewarded. There's an issue in terms of size and security of packaging. You must have machines which are flexible to turn out the right size and the right format of packaging. Thank you, Jean-Marc. In the booth at the end of the aisle, you have the Pack Innovation Awards space where Neopost was awarded. They offered a new automated system for customized packaging. They will be here on Thursday. Emmanuel will anchor the CVP 500. Catherine, we talked about the users of packaging. What are today their main expectations? Among the main phenomena in the market, what are the main parameters boosting the innovation drive? Innovation the drivers and the obstacles to innovations in company among the drivers and obstacles creating a dynamism. The first driver or constraint is the reduction of cost. Concerning 97% of respondents, it's very important for 59% of people to reduce cost, cut cost. That's the backdrop, and it's a driver for innovation, obviously. Behind the notion of recyclability, hard to pronounce in regulations, very important for 41% of our respondents. Again, we're talking about buyers. Next, we have all that concerns fighting waste, marketing, communication, advertising. You have many drivers and obstacles which are adding up and creating this innovation drive, which is geared to the consumer, final consumer, who is pushing for change. You got several drivers for innovation for the final consumer, four on average among per respondent, which are expressed. First, the sheer design of the packaging, namely differentiation element standing out from the crowd. Its convenience, ease of use, recyclability. Thirdly, the use of recycled materials, and fourth, and there appeared in the ranking the notion of customization, which adds to the design, which is first, which is a way to stand out from the competitors. Yes, what is new today is that design, general design, became the first driver for innovation for brands, ahead of convenience and recyclability. Recyclability is a leitmotif, a common thread for many years, and which remains constant, the added value at a low cost, reduction of costs. Eric, the two Erics, as manufacturers of packaging and representing the machine manufacturers, how do you respond to expectations for recyclability? It means that either you're developing materials which are recyclable, or you're using machines which will make it possible to work on these materials. Well, let me, yes, Eric FRESNEL, you're asked the question for the SYMOP representative. You have a lot of packing machines. We agree on this fact. In this revolution of e-commerce and in packaging, one of the key points is reduction at source. You've got to reduce the weight of the packaging, but reduction of the weight must involve steps which are design-driven. There's a key word used by a journalist. He said, more than ever, packaging becomes the medium, the driver, the medium for communication between the brand and the customer. This vision of design must be accepted, and the machine must adapt to make sure that we think with our customers about what is a medium which became the packaging. But what is most important is cutting to cut cost. You got to have packaging which is simpler. But what's most important is the logistics chain, supply chain. If you have differentiation, if at the end you're creating an image, that's where you start economies of scales. Reduction of costs and design are related because this will, get the product to be sold. Be it SYMOP paper, SYMOP cardboard, all these people have the same determination about design and machines. Eric, ARIZZI, a reduction of cost, the packaging as a medium, your 135 members, sir, how do you respond? Well, we made a lot of changes over the last few years. We were also spearheading evolutions. We are upstream of companies making packaging lines, and again, our equipment must adapt to all the market demands. There was a major change over the last few years in the field of pharmaceuticals, which I know very well. traceability, identification of every unit, and you realize that it's great for our industries because we knew how to adapt our products to demand for safety and security, food safety, pharmaceutical safety, and adding and giving information to the final customer, and traceability, which was set up along the supply chain. Degrees of applications have been voted and passed. The process will end in 2029. All our equipment makers are adapted, and have new solutions. We jumped the gun. We anticipated. Well, it all works together. It's a global offering you're proposing. You're talking about complete packaging chain, packaging chains. Let's go back to the definition of supply chain with Karima. But quickly, Catherine, we analyzed what the equipment makers propose in terms of it's a matter which was formulated by the SLOG. Namely, today, what are the services offered by the equipment makers for innovation purposes? We're quite summary. We have 2 minutes to go. Come on. Basically, Catherine, equipment makers. Now, maintenance. Maintenance is the key word. Curative, preventive, curative maintenance. The key word is maintenance. Curative maintenance, preventive maintenance, and also 69% of a score is for remote maintenance. I'm struck by remote maintenance. Jean-Marc, we have the virtual packaging line, 4.0 industry. How do we stand? What about the industry 4.0 for your members who are equipment makers? Again, representing SYMOP. What is important is that we have a project called Industry 2020. We are making something economically where the object is to introduce the web, is to introduce and share with our customers tools which will make it possible for them to work on TCO, total cost of ownership, of operations. Together, we got to maximize the TCO. That's your yardstick, yes, Karima. Yeah, synthetic yield. Yes, we total cost of ownership, TCO, or TCO, total cost of operations. Yes, let me respond to the importance of innovation and machines referred to earlier on. I used to be a boss of a warehouse. Transportation, handling is important for logistics operators. It's important to have the idea of the right packaging and have no empty spaces. I'm sorry, I gotta cut you off. We have an official visit, so please, what I want to tell all our guests is please go and see the both Discover Innovation. The last question, all the equipment makers, French or distributors, will export abroad, and you have betted on the North American continent for the coming years, which is new in the export destination. Oh God, if the dollar goes back up, appreciate. How do you tackle the American market? It's too complicated. Come on. Yeah, in a nutshell, it's my third hat. I'm also wearing the hat of chairman of EMBALLAGE. 85% of the companies export in the U.S. market is a huge growing market. We love the new president. I mean, we're here to build. We're pragmatic. We're pragmatic and practical. Okay, good, excellent. Innovation is great for Industry 4.0. I'll cut you off. I'm really sorry because we're running out of time. And have a great show. And that's the end of the journal for the kickoff of Tuesday. And you can now look at the virtual packaging line. Have a great day on Tuesday at ALL4PACK.